Hello, welcome to the Cables, Lace, and Tails podcast. My name is Sue, and I am a maker from northwestern Wisconsin. So, I only have a little bit of time today. My cat is biting one of the things I want to show you. Let go. Okay. I only have a little bit of time today because I have company coming over, and I'm making cinnamon rolls, and they're in the process of doing their first rise. So I have a bit of time to discuss a few things. Now, first off, I would like to take a moment and thank everyone for liking and watching and subscribing to my videos and even writing comments. I really appreciate it. It makes me so happy. Each and every view, I go, yes. Just like when I get the count right on my projects, I'm like, yes. All right. So thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I'm not holding it off to the end. I'm getting it out right away. They found a pen. Anyway, so I've had a really busy week. Today is Tuesday. I recorded last Wednesday because I like to record on Thursdays, but Thursdays recently have been very busy. Last Thursday, my daughter and I, she has braces, so she had dentist and orthodontist appointments, and we had some time to kill in between some of the appointments, and we found a new thrift store, and I've never seen it before, but I'm not on that side of town usually, or if we are, we go a different way. And so we just decided to no thank you, no, just let it go. She's really into everything, so we decided to stop in to idle a while our time. It's a basic thrift store where they have, clothes and housewares and electronics and furniture and puzzles and that. And then we found the craft section, and I was like, ooh. So first thing I saw were patterns, and you could get 3 for $1. So I've been wanting, I've been wanting this. It's called a Roman shade, but I really like this. So I saw that, and I thought, all right, well, what else can I get out of this bin? I found for card tables. This is so 80s. So we got, it looks like 5 different patterns there, 4 there, plus the chairs. And then I found this, which I always like, the cafe curtains. You don't have to make it exact. You can just make it similar. So I thought, all right, got that. Cool. What else do they have? And then I found a section of pattern books. Now, these were all 49 cents each. So I got this crochet decorative. It was from the 90s. It's really neat. It's a lot of doilies and whatnot. And then I am always on the lookout for leisure arts because they don't make them anymore, and you can get these leisure arts patterns. So essentially there's the patterns for those blankets, and then it's very simple. And then I got crochet for baby. I feel like one of my grandmas had this. Because this kid here reminded me so much. So I don't know, I'm not exactly sure, but there's all kinds of pictures and different patterns and christening things and whatnot. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna get those. And then I saw this. It's thread tree skirts and stockings. So and each one was 50 cents. I'm like, you can't go wrong. In fact, 2 of them, let's see which 2. 2 of them say Gloria, but I don't see where the other one is. But is it on here? Oh yeah. These 2 were from Gloria. So I thought that was cool. And I've been wanting to, like, if I want a hand quilt, how do I hand quilt? And then I found this book. So this one has a lot of different things. You can even make aprons, pot holders, covers, So that was a really good find. So these were each 50 cents. I'm like, all right, cool. You know, that's $2.50 right there. I'm like, all right, so $3.50. I'm at $3.50. No big deal. They had some yarn. They had some fabric. It was very overpriced and not enough quantities, but they did have some alpaca roving. And that was like $12 per thing, which I am assuming is a pretty good deal, but I'm not a spinner, so, you know, I didn't pick it up. They had a free section, so I got this, and then I gotta pull something out. Then I got this. It's a shawl by Lion Brand. So I'm like, cool. Now, the biggest find of all was this. So at first, I saw this. Now it's coming apart. It's falling apart. You have to be very careful. And I'm looking at this, and I'm like, this is old. I know this is really old, and I could tell by the paper, and I'm like looking at the print, and it's blue, and then you see the person's hair. I'm like, this is really old. And it's all about edgings for clothes and tables and whatnot. And I'm like, wow, it's free. I'm taking it. And then I'm digging through this bin that had all these patterns, and I find the cover. And I'm like, oh, this is awesome. So we get up to the counter, and I said, this was in the free bin, and then I put all my other stuff out. And she said, I'll just put those in your bag. I said, okay, cool. And she's like, oh, wow, everything you bought is half off. I looked around, I'm like, I didn't see any sign that said it was half off. So all of this stuff that I got for $1.80 with tax. So I was like, cool. And then we got into the car, and I'm like, I have to look at this some more. I mean, there's a bunch of things in the back, and I'm like thinking to myself, my grandma, I got something similar in this print, in this color of pamphlet book from the 20s. And I'm like, I wonder if it's from the 20s. So right down here, it says, it's small print, copyright 1923 by the Clark Thread Company, Newark, New Jersey. And I'm like, this is 102 years old. 102 years old. And I got it for free. Now it is very fragile. So it is more of a keepsake, but if I could like see a pattern in there and then, you know, write it down and figure it out, whatnot. So that was a great find, which then led me, there was another, I'm always looking at how I can learn how to sew. And like nowadays the books are a little different. And I didn't grab all of my stuff. There are some, I have some other manuals or sewing books or whatnot on how to do things from the bygone eras. But I found this, it's from 1970. I got it off of thrift books, and it is very, 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 very cool. So I was looking at it last week when I got it, and I am excited. It really spells things out. And then in order to get the free shipping, and I'm a collector of books, I found this, and this is from the 60s. And I am really excited. So I use my manuals, like these how-to books, like my Vogue knitting book. So I need to sew up the hem of my cherry sweater. How do I do it? And then I look through here and get tips. So that's what these are for, tips and tricks and teaching me how. I'm gonna hide this because that freaks the cats out. Now, a long time ago, Anne from the knitting group Anne gave me these two books. They're Weldon's Practical Needlework Volume 1 and Volume 2. And these are semi-popular. They came out with these in the early 2000s, and they put all these magazines together, and there's 12 volumes. And I love this. I love just looking at the patterns and seeing what people wore and how they do stuff, and how things were written back then. There was a lot of innate knowledge that you have to have. And granted, things are different now. And these were, I believe, English. I believe they were from England. But, you know, they do give you different heels and whatnot. So I have been on the lookout since probably 2018 for more of these volumes. And these are all reproductions. So I did get the volume 3, and I have volume 5, and I got volume 6, and then I got volume 10, and I have volume 12. Now, sometimes you can get these for a really good deal on thrift books. I've gotten them as low as like less than $10, and I've paid as much as, like, I think this one was closer to $15, but it's a treasure trove of history. I was a history major, and I minored in anthropology, and I wish I had done things a little differently overall, don't we all? And I wish that I wish they had the things like they do now back then. There are a lot of people I watch, Bernadette Banner, Abby Cox, Morgan Donner, Nicole Rudolph, even later Rebecca Fashions, Engineering Knits, Retro Claude. I could go on and on and on. And they all do these historical practices where they make things in that way. Like they try to not emulate, but historically learn how things were done in the Victorian era, in the Edwardian era, in the, the 40s or whatnot. Or even Morgan Donner does the medieval era. But there are so many things that I wish were present when I went to college that I could employ, because all the classes I took were in history were always focused on wars, because wars generate a lot of history, and there's always a war going on. But what happens with the everyday person? What happens with the social norms? Now, I did my thesis paper to graduate on Friar Felix Fabry, who was a German Dominican monk in the 1400s. He traveled to the Holy Land in 1480 and 1484, and then wrote about it after that. And it was really, really interesting. I found a lot of texts on him. He was very well written about. He even had, I was working at the, where was I working? I was working at the historical record area. I can't think of the name. Anyway, they helped me get his manuscript from Arizona, and then I was able to photocopy it, and it was awesome. And he wrote like how the traveling to the Holy Land, at the Holy Land, and back home again. And people are people, and not all people are nice. But seeing things like this, to get back on track, seeing things like this where you can see, oh look, this is what a child would wear, and this is what what they would wear underneath their clothes, and how to make it, or this is some patterns for a blanket, or table stuff and whatnot. So you can learn a lot through the history of making things, and so I find that really awesome. So when I found this here, it immediately reminded me of a book I got from my grandma, and it was from the I think it was 1929, and it told women how to be a good housewife and what they should do and all that stuff. I find that just interesting. I don't find it exactly true to a degree, because it was written by somebody demanding that that be the only way, but I find it really interesting that this is how they are presented. When I read or watch Little House on the Prairie, I've always been like just more interested in the background, in the way that they're cooking, in the way that they're doing their things. And I have listened and read the books many, many times, and I'm always amazed at, like, for Christmas, Laura gave Mary 6 feet of lace trimming for her petticoats. 6 feet. That's a lot of work in thread, knitting without electricity, without a neck light, just sitting by the window during a downtime of the day. And they weren't really idle. They were like, well, since I'm sitting here, I might as well be sewing or knitting or crocheting or whatnot. So that's why I'm always interested in how to do things. And I think that has promoted me into learning how to do things. Now, I was really nervous about doing this thing. I just said last week, should I soak it? Do I just steam it? And I was mostly concerned with the acrylic content of this sweater. This is Upcycle Alpaca in the color Squirrel by Knit Picks. It is 33% acrylic, 33% alpaca, and 34% wool. And I have the sport weight. They do have the worsted weight on their website. I am a Knit Picks affiliate, so if you click the link in my description, it'll lead you to their site, and I do receive a small commission if you do decide to buy something. Now, this is a Norwegian pattern by Sandes Garn, the cherry sweater. It came from this booklet. They are not selling booklets anymore. Probably the cost of printing was prohibited. Anyway, let's see, I just had a picture. It is there's only a few sizes, but it's very oversized. Here's what the model looks like. I decided to do it all in one color. The color is Squirrel, and I've held this up before. I just realized I'm not wearing my microphone, and I'm not going to start over. In the light, you can see the different hues. There's brown, there's light, there's tan, there's pinks, there's reds. It's really, really, really pretty. So I blocked it. I wet blocked it. I soaked it in Eucalyptus wool wash. It's a non-rinsing wool wash with lanolin in it. I soaked it for about 20 minutes. I didn't want to go too long. I didn't want everything to relax too much because I may have made it too big. And then I gently squeezed, gently got most of the water, rolled it up in a towel, laid it out. I did pin, but not very well, as you can see. I only have 9 blocking mats, and I'm very limited on space. So I did as best as I could, but I didn't really stretch anything. I just kind of kept it together. And then last night, I was like, oh, I don't know what I'm doing. I looked in my Vogue book, and I was like, okay. And they didn't really give me too much information, because basically anyone should know how to do it. That's what I kind of came with, because I looked it up online. And so I decided I'm not going to get the straight pins because they're off somewhere else, but I decided to just pin with my clips the top, just to keep it steady. And then I took my metal straight pins and I would just pin the bottom and not too far ahead. You know, I had maybe 6 pins going. So then when I get to the last pin, then I add more pins, because this is all, I have this all marked. So it's ready to go. I'm just going down, and I just took the same the yarn, and I went under this stitch, and then I just grabbed a purl bump as close as to where it was in that area, and I tried to be very gentle but firm, you know, because you don't want it to be loosey-goosey and then get caught on something, but you don't want it to be so tight that it squinches in. So I think I did the front first. It's not too bad. I hope you can see it. I'm gonna hold it up again. And then I did the back. And that's all I could do last night. I wanted to do more. I wanted to do a lot more this whole week, but I only got little bits and pieces done. And so, and plus this hurts my neck a lot. I've even employed different pieces of fabric or towels to go around my neck to give it a little bit cushion, but it's not working. I'm gonna have to buy a desk lamp. I saw on Target they have one for $8. Guess I'm going to Target soon. And then let's see, I tied in some ends. I did put this piece of acrylic yarn in the back. I will trim it up or weave it in a little bit, but I don't know which is front and which is back. And I've even put it on backwards, so I really want to know that this is the back and I don't have any tags or anything of that nature. So it will be done for sure really soon. All I have is the sleeves. Do this and maybe tie in some more ends, and then voila. I will probably display it on myself, but not wear it at this time of year because it is wretchedly hot. It's gonna be like 90 today, and we have a lot of humidity, and that makes it even worse. And I already got out for my walk with the puppy just so she could get out in the cooler part of the day, because it's so hard on their paws and whatnot. So during this past week, so we had our busy day on Thursday. Friday we had company come, and then we went out to eat. It was very good. And then Saturday, my daughter and her friend met at the Northern Wisconsin State Fair. And so I said I would be there, and I sat in the shade on a bench by the main office for like 3 hours. And I made, where'd it go? I made a dishcloth. Just a simple dishcloth. You know, during the time that my daughter's at the dentist, I made another dishcloth. Just a simple dishcloth. This one is kind of neat. It's funny, like how many stitches change the pattern. I think this is closer to 40 stitches, and this is closer to like 33 stitches. So it's really interesting. So then, you know, same yarn, just different patterns. Same, almost the same pattern, just different stitch lengths, stitch counts. Anyway, so I made those. I worked on my socks. I'm not taking them out. I have 2 black socks that I'm working on. I have to get to 9.5 inches on the cuff, and I'm about 6 inches. So I have some time to go there. I worked on my palette cardigan. I worked on my Dolce cardigan, and I started working on my Upcycle cardigan. They're all in the stages of, did you do anything? Doesn't look like you did anything, even though I have. Now, one thing I was really working on this, and then it got really frustrating, and I just was like, put it down. It's late at night. You will figure it out. You're just gonna have to futz with it a little bit. So I sewed together the back of the couch. Now, I don't have foam that could match the actual pattern. This is the middle, and I would have to cut some more foam, or, and I say or because what if I just use some of the polyfill I have had for like, wow, almost 15 years. I bought a big box of it, and it has just lasted forever. So I do have these extras. So I can like cut this and then shape it to here, which I think I might do, and then fill in the gaps with the polyfill, because I don't really want these to like linger and whatnot. But this was the front was easy. So you match wrong side to wrong side, and you just pick up one stitch, and it really blended well, okay? And then this other side took forever to figure out, but in the end it turned out. I lost yarn chicken, but it works. So I just have that. Now, I don't know how much I'll get done this week. I had company Friday. We had the state fair on Saturday. We had company on Sunday. We had company yesterday. And I'm having company in a few short hours. Today, tomorrow, Thursday, Friday. And I think that's it. We did not go blueberry picking yet because they weren't open, unfortunately. And then they're not open on Mondays. I don't know if my daughter will go with me because she has things going on as well. However, I should probably get going because I don't have a lot of time, and I'm already at about a half hour, which is about what I wanted today. However, before I go, I just want to say thank you again. Tusen takk, which is Norwegian for 1,000 thanks. Tusen takk for watching my videos, commenting, liking, and sharing, and whatnot. I really, really appreciate it. I enjoy doing this. It keeps me busy. It keeps me thinking of the future, even while thinking of the past, because where would we be if we didn't have our past? And sometimes a past is within a book. Sometimes a past is within some yarn that you got from your relative. Sometimes the past is yesterday and you think, well, I should have done things better, and today's a new day. Anyway, thank you for watching. Thank you for stopping by. And, you know, stay cool in the hot sun, or stay warm if it's cold where you are. Take care. Have fun. Bye for now.